I don't like heroes, Jack.
I am an intelligence operative. I do not have opinions. What the fuck happened to this show? I don't know what happened to season 3 of Jack Ryan. My assumption is that bringing in Michael Bay turned it into a piece of shit. The first season was one of the best pieces of television ever written. The third season is a flaming pile of hot garbage. It is worth waiting through the shitty episodes in the beginning to find some sort of semblance of decent script writing. The problem is that I really like Jack Ryan as a character in the books. Tom Clancy was and is my favorite novelist, probably the one novelist who has made the most difference in my life, genuinely. I'm only in the political science program because of Tom Clancy's influence on my life, impact on my life. The first episode of Jack Ryan Season 3 is poorly scripted exposition that should not fucking exist. Literally. Show, don't tell. It's a show. Don't tell. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Show me. Season 1, Episode 1, Jack Ryan, Jim Greer meets. They almost hit each other, foreshadowing, showing me terrorists have complicated lives. Show me. Also, big point, the terrorists in season 1, they speak a foreign language and there are subtitles. That's what makes a good espionage show, and that's what absolutely makes a good Jack Ryan show. Season 1, a Jack Ryan show. Season 3, a Michael Bay fuckfest that totally ruins the character of Jack Ryan. The opening scene, in the very first scene, you have Russian people speaking English. And you are setting the tone for the entire show in those moments. Not to mention, they're not great actors and the music kind of sucks. I forget if they killed off Clark in this show last season. I think they did. I think he died last season. But there are many other characters in this universe to pull from to show that kick-ass, badass guy that Jack Ryan really shouldn't be at this stage, especially in the first fucking episode. The gunfights in the first episode of a Jack Ryan show should be Ding Chavez or fucking Rainbow Franks, you know? Or any of the Rainbow guys. You know, any one of those other characters that are uniquely situated to be kick-ass, badass motherfuckers in Tom Clancy's universe could have been the gunfighters in the first episode of Season 3. Unfortunately, we got bullshit in that first episode. It's a terrible fucking episode. The plot is bad. It's a cookie-cutter carbon copy of other spy shows and other spy movies and other spy books. Basically, the opening scene of this season of Jack Ryan is the opening scene of GoldenEye. You're not doing anything special, so treat it special. Make it yours. What I saw was a carbon copy of the opening scene from GoldenEye. A fucking carbon cut cookie cutter that was done worse because there were no characters that we got to get attached to. Chekhov would be dying in his fucking grave. There's nothing unique about the first episode, and it's also poorly written dialogue that doesn't show anything. And it's cliched one-liners. Sir, I am in intelligence. I do not offer my opinion. Bullshit. That's a terrible fucking line. You could have done that with a look. Any director worth their fucking salt would have scrapped that fucking line. So, I don't know what was going on in episode 1 of season 3. I don't even know why it fucking exists. I assume it's there so that dumbass morons can be catered to. But that's not who Jack Ryan is supposed to appeal to. We are not showing the world of intelligence to dumbass morons who don't understand what the fuck is happening. Jack Ryan is the person that for the most of my developing youth, I aspired to become. I even got so close to becoming Jack Ryan in my own life that a few years ago, I almost went to Huachuca to become an intel analyst for the U.S. Army myself. But I didn't because I was too fat, unfortunately. And I've been talking to therapists about this, and the reason that I probably haven't lost a lot of weight is nothing to do with the Army. Yeah, it's because I'm afraid of getting into another relationship. That has nothing to do with this. Anyways, the nature of Jack Ryan and the reason that his character has lasted for so long in the headspace of the intelligence community is that he's a thinker. He uses his head. That's his most important tool. He's like Sherlock Holmes. He is a Sherlock Holmesian character in the intelligence community. He is not immediately recognizable as a hero. Most heroes are not. Let's be frank about that. As opposed to martyrs, who are immediately recognizable as martyrs. Heroes, at least in the modern understanding, and the classic understanding, and the general understanding of what a hero is somebody who would not rather die, but is willing to. He's an analyst. He thinks. First and foremost, somebody who sits at a desk and churns through books and finds patterns where nobody else does. He sees things that nobody else can fucking see. That's Jack Ryan. We don't need somebody to explain to us what small wars theory means in the first episode. What we need is somebody to be sitting down at a desk with, little post-it notes stuck to their computer. If you've already established the fact that Jack Ryan writes post-it notes, have the post-it notes already written and just put the camera over his shoulder for a second as he's scanning through, looking at this pattern. And he's sitting at his desk and he's looking at it. And he's twiddling his thumbs and he's leaning back and he says, "Fuck." And he turns around and he sees a map of Europe behind him on the board. And he sees a conflict COP standing for Common Operating Picture of Ukraine. He sees it displayed on the board and he's looking at Ukraine and he's looking at Russia next to Ukraine and he's looking at Moldova and he's looking at Crimea and he's looking at Croatia above it and he's looking at Croatia, because if you're going to explain concepts to morons, you probably need to explain where the fuck Croatia is. And then you see his eyes and you see through the camera at what he's looking at. The camera zooms in on the fucking map of Croatia. And then he says, "Fuck." And the next beat, Small Wars Theory. The camera cuts directly to Jim Greer's face, and he says, "Who gives a fuck?" None of this bullshit about standing on a veranda with some bullshit fucking source getting information. That's not how you start off a Jack Ryan adventure. I'm gonna make a few generalizations here, assuming that they're correct. People who grew up reading fantasy books love the fantastical elements of it, and therefore they become geeks. People who grew up reading espionage novels, however, we understand that there are fantastical elements within our parasocial relationships between the characters and ourselves. But most of those things that are written in espionage novels are all based in logic. And it's the human beings in those stories who have to react kind of like William Shatner versus Spock. They exist within a logical world, and they are acting on their emotions. It is only empathy that makes the world a better place. And it is only thinking with your emotions that can actually win. Otherwise, why would we say that love conquers all? And with all of those Tom Clancy books that I own, I think it'd be perfectly normal to summarize the first episode of Jack Ryan's Season 3. Where'd I put my notes? The entire series of books on that shelf are about a man who sits at a desk and looks through books and reads archives and looks at battle plans and looks at blueprints and then figures shit out in his head, and then he goes out and he does bang bangs. But his head is his greatest weapon. This show, a Michael Bay fuckfest that totally ruins the character of Jack Ryan.